Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Sound of Violence, which is yet another female serial killer movie to add to the list of 2021 female serial killer movies. But the twist of this one is that this serial killer kills people and turns their kills into music.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird, but makes sense when you see the movie.
Yeah, because the main character has synesthesia, which basically means that they experience certain sensory inputs differently.
Yep.
Like sounds have color and things like that.
Yeah. They see the sounds, but in her case, she specifically sees the sounds when it's sounds of violence being enacted. Yeah. So, and sounds of suffering. So when she hears those sounds, she sees it in like a colorful. It's like you've just dropped acid or something.
Yeah. For her, it's like super orgasmic.
Yeah.
You know,
like she's literally getting off on it, which makes this movie kind of feel like it's taking a like Peeping Tom kind of approach.
Yeah.
Where you're following the serial killer, you're getting into their psychology, but the serial killer is also like creating art.
Yeah,
but they're also getting off on the killing.
Yeah. It feels like Peeping Tom or Blow Up or, you know, one of those.
Blow Out.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, Blow Out.
With a little bit of Saw and Hostel in there as well. This is way more of the torture horror style of movie compared to say some of the other movies we watched this year, like Titane or The Columnist. This one that were like really fucked up, but not as into the inflicting pain on people. Yeah, exactly. You know, because her whole thing is that the sound of the violence and the suffering is what she gets off on, and what makes her see things, and she wants to use a lot of it to make music out of it. So people suffer for an extended period of time in this. Yeah, you know, it's not like quick kills or deaths. You know,
no, it's a really cool premise.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Yeah,
plot's a little janky.
Oh yeah, the weakest part of this movie is that its plot is janky as all shit, and there's a lot of like just roll with it moments.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like you can tell that there are a lot of things where they were like, no, I feel like this was, why is the character doing this? Because it'd be cool. Shut up.
Yeah. Or even a better question, how is the character doing this? That's a question. That's a question I had a couple times.
Yeah, because like, all right, you're like, okay, she's a sound engineer with synesthesia. Okay, I get that, but she has synesthesia because she was deaf at one point.
Okay,
and also she knows how to make fucking jigsaw traps.
Okay, okay. Well, when we get to the spoilers, I'll go into more detail of what I mean by like how she's doing this. But like some of that stuff made a little bit more sense to me, because I'm like, okay, she was deaf at one point because of an accident, so she wasn't born
that way. Yeah,
she had an accident, and then at some point early on with the trauma she had with her dad, which we'll talk more about in the spoiler section, because she had a very traumatic experience really early on with her dad.
Yeah.
She got her hearing back, but the hearing it's faulty. It like goes in and out. Sometimes she can hear, and then it will like the synapse will like break, and then she'll not hear again, and then it'll reconnect again. And so she has like hearing that's coming and going. And the idea is that over time she's eventually just going to be deaf again and no longer hear.
Yeah.
You know, so it adds a time aspect to this. Like she has to make this music, make this masterpiece, and experience the experience she wants to get before she no longer can, you know. Which is why she like goes out of her way to like do it so like intensely, and like instead of like taking the time like her partner wants to, you know.
Yeah.
But the parts that like, oh man, I'll have to wait for the spoiler section, because some of them are like the reasons to watch this movie.
Yeah. It's
because it's more than just jigsaw traps. There's more to it, but we'll talk about it when we get later. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. But anyway, just know that there's a whole lot of like, wait, how is she doing this? And what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. But I also want to say that it's also partially a selling point, because part of what I really love about this movie is the what the fuck factor.
Oh yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like it's kind of like Titane in that way, where there's moments where you're just like, how did that? I don't care. That was crazy. That was wild. Like, you know, There's also some really good like practical effects, especially some of the body horror effects towards the end. Without getting too much into spoilers, there's some really
there's some body horror effects at the end.
Which actually one of the people that follows me on Twitter, I'll put their like hashtag, their name right here, their @ right here, because it's escaping me what their actual handle is. But one of the people that follows me on Twitter apparently did some of the effects for this movie, and they did a great job. So I just wanted to give them a shout out right
here.
Yeah. But the things that like really work with this movie, the janky plot aside, because the plot really does feel like a Saw movie sometimes, where it's like, okay, how did that cop figure that out? How is it going? It's just
how did that happen? Wait a minute. You know, how did they not catch that guy?
Okay, there's a great example. There's a point where she kills someone inside of a sound booth inside of a recording studio. Now, if you know anything about recording studios, usually when you rent out a recording studio, a couple things sometimes happens. Like sometimes you have to like put an insurance there to make sure that if anything breaks, you have to think. Sometimes you have to leave your card at the front of the studio when you enter in, so that if you do break something, they can charge you. Sometimes you have to leave your ID. Like you actually have to check in to a sound studio that's not one you own yourself.
Correct.
So the fact that they can't just do that to figure out who had the sound studio that day is weird. Like that's
There's a lot in this movie where the main character just kind of gets away with it. And you're just like, how?
Yeah, I feel like they would have been able to figure that out a little easier.
Yeah, a lot quicker. You know,
this is what we mean by it being janky. But what works about the movie is everything following the killer herself.
Yeah.
Like watching her do these experiments to figure out what triggers the synesthesia, and watching her kill these people, and watching her deal with her unrequited love for her partner, her roommate and partner, which is very much an LGBT thing. Like this, like when we did The Stylist, I talked about that being an LGBT movie, and like it turns out the filmmaker like actually responded to us and was just like, I didn't intend that, but that is a totally valid movie.
Yeah.
In this case, it's a lot more overt that she straight up just has feelings for her, because it like there's a point later on in the movie where it's confirmed that that's what's going on. Like it's actually stated.
No subtext.
Yeah.
Just text.
You know, so you're like everything involving her, like really wanting to be with this girl, but also wanting to figure out the synesthesia thing and hating the girl's boyfriend. And all that stuff. And like her going out and picking out victims, some of which are like assholes and some of which are like homeless people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff really works. That stuff feels like you're watching like a movie, like, you know, I say this a lot this year because there's been a lot of movies like this, like you're watching a movie like Maniac. You know, you're getting into the psychology of a killer and watching them see how they operate and why they operate the way they do. And that stuff 100% works. The actual like plot is janky as shit though.
Yeah. Like, well, one of the actual criticisms is like every time we deal with the cop, you're just sort of like, I feel like this actress is in a different movie.
It does feel like that. It feels like you're all like, that's when you feel like you've entered like a low budget Saw movie, you know? Like, you know, which Saw movies are already low budget usually, so. Like, that's when you feel like you've entered a Saw movie and, like, the acting becomes very police procedural.
Yeah, you know? And it was also a little weird because I found myself going, we really don't need this part of the fucking movie.
No.
You know? It could have just been watching her kill people and, like, whatever the cops are doing, whether or not they're figuring out the crime, we don't care.
Yeah, like you know? All you need to know is that she's aware the cops are on her tail. Like, you could see her, like, seeing cops questioning people around town.
Exactly.
Like, you could have done that. You didn't necessarily need to actually follow the detective, personally. I don't think it was necessary.
No, I agree. I don't think it was necessary either. You know, except maybe to pad out the runtime?
Maybe, yeah, because it does feel like it's only there for something to cut to. It's like, okay, we just had a scene with her... and we just had a scene with her partner roommate. Let's move on. Let's cut to this other thing to give us a little more space. That's about it.
Yeah. It's
I don't think it's necessary. It's the part of the movie that feels the most Saw. That's not the Saw traps, but it's also the part of the movie that just feels the most unnecessary. Yeah, and also the part of the movie that has the most like logical parts that don't work, like parts that
you're like, how do you not know who did this if you're doing all this stuff,
I'm sitting there going like for example, like the sound studio thing where I'm just like, wait, like why isn't the cop like questioning whoever runs the sound studio? Because if you check into a sound studio, you check in. There's whether that's signing your name, whether that's leaving an ID at the front, whether that's leaving a bank card at the front, or having to actually some studios make you just straight up have to get insurance to get in there. Like,
well, there's also like, oh my god, trail. We can't find anything because she threw bleach all over the place, and I'm like, that's not how that works.
And here's the thing: if it's, and I don't remember if it's clarified in the movie, if it's a sound studio connected to the school she's at, that would even doubly mean she'd have to sign in. Because
exactly.
I went to film school, and anytime you went into an editing bay, anytime you went to like a sound booth or whatever, you had to sign into that shit.
Yeah, unless you just like broke in.
Yeah,
but like apparently she didn't.
Yeah, so. And there was usually like a person at the front desk when you go in, and they have to check your ID and all that stuff. Like the fact that there was no paper trail there felt weird. That just felt like they didn't think that plot through very well.
Yeah,
you know.
And that's why I was like, I feel like the detective parts really actually kind of detract from the movie.
Yeah, because
we really didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't end up mattering too much of the plot.
Yeah, everything with the killer, everything with her victims, everything with her unrequited love story, that stuff works. Even the parts where you're like, wait, how is she doing that? It works on the level of what the fuck? That's so fucking weird. I love it. Like,
like how is this working? Look, just
roll with it. Just roll with it. You know? And the performances are all great of the main cast. Like, I feel like the friend, you totally buy her herself.
Yeah. The three main characters are really good.
That's also another thing I want to mention as a selling point for you, that any of you that are on the fence of watching this movie. This is also the only female serial killer movie that we've seen this year so far. And we're at the last month of the year, so probably not going to be many more.
Not going to be another one, yeah.
That has a person of color as the serial killer. Like, all the other ones are white women.
Oh, that's true.
You know, like whether it's Titane, the columnist, the stylist.
Yep.
Those all had white girls. This is actually one where you got a black woman as the central character, which you don't see very often with these kinds of movies.
No, you don't actually. You know,
that's pretty cool. So not only you have a person of color, you also have a LGBT person at the center. So if those are important to you, then this is the movie you should check out.
The movie that this reminded me the most of was actually Bliss.
I can see that,
you know, because it's about someone like it's about a female trying to make art.
Yeah, they're trying to make art and they're searching for a high.
Yeah,
you know, like I can totally see that. I can totally see that. That's the other thing I want to say about the movie. For the most part, the movie is shot like a low-budget indie movie that's very muted colors. It's not very stylish. But every time she's killing someone,
that's when it gets super colorful.
It gets super colorful and vibrant, and I love it. It's
those scenes are great. Those are like the best scenes in the movie.
They get super psychedelic, and more than that, the other thing I really like is the actual music that she creates. She basically invents, like, I don't know what else to call it other than like industrial music with hip hop beats. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
like it
it's
sounds
like murder industrial. We're gonna fucking make these tracks until someone dies.
It's like if Ministry had more of like a hip hop beat to it.
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah, definitely.
You know, that's what it kind of sounds like, and I like industrial music, so like I was cool with that. You know, that's pretty awesome. And so like I dug this movie. It's not. I think of the female serial killer movies, this is probably my least favorite of the 4 we watched this year. But it's still worth watching and I enjoy it. And it's mainly my least favorite because of the parts that we've already established aren't as good in this, you know.
Yeah.
Don't hold up as well.
It's not, it doesn't, it's really weird because it doesn't maintain the same level of quality across scenes.
No, yeah, exactly.
You know, like every time we basically cut to the B plot, which is the detectives, you're like,
you're always just like, I almost wish you just cut this. You know?
Like I'd rather just keep watching this girl like murder.
Yeah, people, and the escalation of her murders and her search for this high.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but there were like now one of the things that you're definitely gonna have to roll with. Mm-hmm. With this movie is that a lot of her murders don't make sense.
We're going to talk more about that in the spoiler section because that is my how is she doing this?
Yeah.
That happens a couple times.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, this is a complete tangent, but I'm going to do this here in the pre-spoiler section because this is where most people are going to be watching this vlog.
Okay.
All right. So this is a criticism of the movie, but it's one that's totally pointless and doesn't actually matter, but it's hilarious to me. All right. So this is a Blue Yeti microphone. This is my first Blue Yeti microphone that I got like a decade ago when I started my YouTube channel, and I used it for a lot of the Blood Splattered Cinema videos, and have used it up to this day, and I recently upgraded to a different microphone that you'll start seeing next year. But this is a Blue Yeti microphone. Now, the thing about the Blue Yeti microphone is that if you're using it in the cardioid pattern, which is what most people use it as, it is a front-facing microphone. Mm-hmm. You can use it in the omni pattern, which is all around the microphone. But the one thing this microphone does not work for is talking directly into the top. This is not the way this microphone works. There are multiple points in this movie where she pulls out a microphone to get a quick recording of something, and it's a Blue Yeti microphone, and she points it at the subject like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's not a shotgun mic.
Yeah, even if you're in omnidirectional mode, that's this direction. That's all around here. That's not here. This doesn't work on this microphone. Yeah. It's not the way the Yeti works.
Yeah.
And it's really stupid because I know most people aren't going to notice that. Most people aren't going to care about that. I don't even truly care about that. I just think it's funny.
It's a funny detail.
I just think it's funny. I don't worry about this microphone. This microphone's been busted for a while, and I've been using a blackout version of it because this one died on me like 2 years ago. But like,
to be fair, this does look like you could kill somebody.
Oh yeah. You know? I wanted her to bludgeon someone with it because you totally could.
It's a good, nice, heavy microphone, you know.
But yeah. So it's just a minor pet peeve every time I saw her do that, where I was just like, no, that's not the way that mic works. And it's a pet peeve because this is also a huge problem with people who get this microphone, is that the number one way this microphone is misused is people doing this.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it works.
Yeah, you actually you want the sound to come in here to hit it here.
Yeah. It can also come in here and here if you're
it won't be as good.
If you're using the omnidirectional mode, then it will be.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the top.
Yeah, exactly. But the cardioid version, the cardioid form, the cardioid mode, where it's just from the front facing, is the best sounding mode on it. And that's the one you want if you're going to get an isolated sound, which is what she's trying to get.
Trying to do, yeah.
You know? Anyway, that is my little rant about this movie's misuse of the Blue Yeti. 0 stars. But in truth, actually, this movie's pretty good. It's just a flawed movie.
Yeah. This is it's kind of that's not quite it's not. Is it a Flipper Baby movie?
Flipper Baby movie?
Flipper Baby movie. Okay,
explain.
All right, Flipper Baby movie. Like, all right. So, not every movie is great, but they're like Flipper Babies, which is, if you love the Flipper Baby, you can't really get that mad at it.
Okay, fair.
You know, it's one thing to go like, oh my god, it's a fucking Flipper Baby. But if you like what it's doing, you're like, that's right.
Yeah.
You keep going. You got the heart of a champion.
So is the idea like it's flawed, but it's still endearing?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, absolutely. It's a very endearing movie.
You may even grow to like the flaws, you know?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, I could totally see that with this movie. 100%. So it is currently available on various streaming platforms. We rented it on like Amazon, but I think it's available. I think this one is also available on Showtime, but don't quote me on that. I will put the Just Watch thing right here so you can see for yourself where it's streaming and watch it for yourself. And it's definitely worth it, especially if you've been into this recent kick of female serial killer, maniac style serial killer movies. Then this is another one to add to the pile, and it is worth watching too. So,
yeah.
And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers, because there's some weird shit that happens in this movie.
Yeah. Oh man, where to begin?
Okay, well, I guess we can start with what we mean by the "how is she doing that" stuff, because
okay, like the one that made me go, Yeah. Was the harpist.
Well, because, okay, here's the thing. This actually leads into all the other ones, because the first kill we see in the movie is she gets a guy strapped to a chair and has all these like little mechanisms that will like beat him or stab him or mutilate him. And when she plays the music, it will be like a beat stabbing into his chest.
Yeah. Like imagine like that old like, you know, and now these mice all squeak and it's basically that, but it's just a dude.
Like it feels like a Hostel style or Saw style like trap kill, you know?
Right, exactly. And I was kind of into that because I was like, all right, all right.
But then you get to the harp kill. And not even just the harp kill, but the one with the guy in the booth where he gets electroshocked.
Oh yeah.
And something starts happening with her kills that they never explain, and it's weird. Where her traps start taking over their bodies and controlling them.
Yeah.
Like she electrifies him and forces him to sing.
Yeah.
And then later on with the harp thing, she drugs her and does something with the harp that makes her start to play the harp even though she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And then later on, she does a full like body makeover to the chick that she's like unrequitedly in love with.
Yeah.
Because she discovers that she kills people, and so like she turns her into her last masterpiece.
Yeah.
Where she like rigs up a whole bunch of speakers onto her and plays the song she's created from all the kills she's had throughout the movie.
Yeah, but the speakers are like actually like hooked up to her heart and shit.
And they're like tearing her apart, but more than that, she can't stop herself from moving, like it's moving her.
Yeah.
And they never explain how she's controlling people. We just see her take out her phone, and then they start moving. And you're like, wait, hold on. Her being a sound engineer does not explain this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she has that speech at the beginning about how, like, beats, you know, they make us move and stuff, but that's not
the same thing.
That really doesn't explain how the fuck she's doing this.
Yeah. It's the different, like, there's a difference between mad scientist and, like, mad grad student.
Yeah.
You know, like,
because I'm sitting there going, like, does she have like a fucking like superpower or like what? What's going on here? You know, and you get the idea that like her rigs somehow take over their bodies, but how is not even explained, and it just kind of starts happening.
Yeah, it's not even explored.
No,
you know, it's just like you just have to fucking accept it.
Now that being said, once you roll with it, once you just let it happen and go like, oh, I don't know how she's doing it, but it's happening on screen. Every single one of these kills are great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like watching the harpist get her fingers torn apart by the razor blade wires is fucked up.
Yeah, I actually kind of wish they had pushed that a bit more.
Oh, God, like really got her.
Yeah, where it's actually like slicing flesh off and shit.
The body horror, like fucking subwoofer speaker fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's gnarly as fuck.
Well, my only problem with that is I was trying to figure out why we were doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it basically came down to climax of the movie.
Yeah.
Which she turned her fucking roommate into like an art piece.
Yeah, an art piece playing the song that they wrote together.
Yeah.
Because technically, like you get this little moment early on in the movie where like they start playing the piano and she creates this little beat and she worked that beat into the song. So it's their song.
It's their song.
You know?
Yeah.
And by the way, like they actually confirm that it is unrequited love and not just jealousy, like friendship jealousy, because there's a point later on in the movie where they kiss each other, say they love you, right before she finds out that she's a serial killer. And they actually actually consummate their love with a kiss, you know, like not sex, but kiss.
Yeah.
So you know it actually is a lesbian thing. It is 100%.
Totally 100%.
Or in the case of the girlfriend, bisexual case.
But like, you know, definitely it's absolutely queer.
Women love women.
No coding, pure text.
Yeah.
It's there.
100% it is there. It is not just me reading into something like I did with Stylist, and I almost feel bad about that. But they ended up They ended up really liking that interpretation.
Well, like that I felt like because it's kind of a legit interpretation too. It's like it could be either way, but like no, come on.
Yeah.
You wanna, you know. But like this one, it's just like there's no question of it.
So she turns her into an art piece that's kind of like her final masterpiece, playing the song they created.
Yeah.
So it's kind of beautiful and poetic, but you're not quite sure what it means.
Yeah, you're not quite sure what it means, or you're not quite sure how it kills her either.
Yeah, well, the idea I got is that like the subwoofer was like tearing her apart from the inside, but like that's all I got.
Yeah. It's just like, all right, so she's got all these fucking speakers inserted into her like she's like fucking Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Every time one of the speakers like did its like little beat, like blood would splurt out. So I guess she was losing her blood while it was happening.
Yeah, I guess, but like I maybe I would have amped that up,
maybe
just to make it a little more obvious.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Because I found myself going, okay, now she's dead. All right, what killed her? I mean, I guess the fucking mad science did.
Yeah,
but I kind of need.
It's like you compare this to something like Titane, right? Which Titane had a lot of weird shit that just happens in the movie,
right?
But I feel like I understood the metaphor and everything in Titane a lot better than I understood. Well, in this one.
I would agree because like for example, in Titane, it's just a very unfair comparison.
Oh yeah,
super unfair.
Yeah,
just to let you know, Titane was basically handled everything with magical realism.
Yeah, it did.
Which is like, here is the weird part, which is a woman fucks a car.
Yeah.
And then, wait, are we in spoilers?
Yeah, we're in the spoilers.
Okay, so this is also a spoiler for Titane, so just to let you know.
Oh yeah,
she
fair.
Fucks a car and then gives birth to a car baby.
Yep.
Everything else is like realistic.
And grounded, Yeah.
This is the weird part. Whereas it
has the one weird element.
Yeah. Whereas I felt in Sound of Violence, there was a lot of, I think you need to explain that.
Yeah. Or if not explain it, explore it. You know? Like you don't necessarily need to tell me exactly how she's doing. Like I don't need to know the math for how she's controlling people's bodies, but just like giving me like little snippets of her at the beginning, like maybe with like a frog or something.
She's like
experimenting, just a little something, because it kind of comes out of nowhere when it starts happening, and at first you don't know if that's what's happening.
And that's the problem, because if you don't realize that's what's happening, you're just sort of sitting there going, why don't they just stop?
Yeah, exactly. You find yourself asking that question. And so I feel like that could have been developed a little bit better. But the deaths themselves are so gnarly and like poetic when they happen.
Oh yeah,
and the way they're shot, you're just like, man, I love what I'm watching, even if I don't fully understand it. And there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for this is beautiful, even if I'm confused.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely that kind of movie. Like. Every time, it's a movie of peaks and valleys.
Yeah, it's kind of
like it has really good high points, but it also has some points that just make you go like,
yeah,
I guess that's okay.
I didn't mention this in the pre-spoiler section, but like the whole I like the whole opening sequence.
The opening sequence was really good.
Because basically the whole opening sequence kind of establishes what would probably be the theme of the movie, which is like the way PTSD and trauma begets more PTSD and trauma.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily super developed in the movie, but it's kind of like the thing.
Well, it's a thing that keeps happening.
Yeah.
It's a theme,
Absolutely, because at the very beginning of the movie, like when we're first introduced to her, we're introduced to her in the past as a little girl. And this is after she's just had her accident and she's lost her hearing for the first time. And her dad has come home from war. I'm assuming Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Because given the timeline
given the time.
It was either Afghanistan or Iraq, one of the two. And he is severely PTSD addled. Like, he is not good at all. And there's this really, like, amazingly well done sequence. Probably my favorite from an artistic standpoint, how it was filmed, of her hearing these thumps in the other room.
Yeah.
And following the thumps and then walking in on her dad just brutally murdering her mom.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was good.
And
that's a good scene.
And then like her like having like pick up a mallet and kill her dad, and then seeing the synesthesia
colors and everything
for the first time, and her hearing briefly coming back, and then laughing and like smiling because she's high now.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence was just so beautiful and well done. It's almost like a great short film in and of itself, you know? Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably, weirdly enough, despite everything else, it's probably my favorite sequence in the movie.
Oh, yeah, because it's really good. You know, it's a really good sequence. Like, actually, now that you mention it, yeah, this does kind of feel like a short that was extended into a movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, you know, it's, without actually, like...
But it has the same problems that happens when you do that, where, like, you start having subplots that aren't necessary just to pad out the runtime.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Whereas, like, you have to... Oh man, I don't want to be mean to this movie.
I don't want to be mean because I actually really like the movie.
I do like it.
It's just it's a movie with obvious flaws that kind of stick out when you watch it, especially when you think about it. Like there's some fridge logic that happens where you start sitting there, you know. Like it took me watching it twice to really think about. Wait, hold on. Why aren't the cops like asking the person at the front desk at the sound studio?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like,
why aren't they checking who signed in? Like you know.
Yeah. Why is the same cop showing up to all these seemingly unrelated events?
Especially since later on, they do check to see if someone signed in for something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, you should have done that for the sound studio, too.
Yeah, What's... Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of... When it comes to... The investigation scenes are super contrived.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely something that if I had read it in the script, I'd have been like, oh, no, get rid of this.
All this stuff, great. This can be explored a little more, but I recommend we're getting rid of this and exploring this. You know? Yeah. That's kind of like, it would have been like a script doctor note. You know? Yeah, absolutely. I would have totally given similar notes. You know?
Yeah, because like I mean, to be fair, most of the things that I really didn't like about the movie are all contained in those detective scenes. True. You know?
And some of the stuff that like was confusing, it's not that I didn't like it, I feel like it should have been cooked better. You know, it should have been developed a little bit more. You know? Yeah.
With that said, I want to see what this director, writer
100%
next.
Everyone involved with this, I'm looking forward to their next projects. The actress in this was really good.
Oh yeah,
and I can't wait to see her in other movies. You know, because she should totally get more work from this. And
totally. Like you know, get her. Maybe she gets a part in, like you know, some like that Chucky show or something.
Yeah.
You know, like
absolutely
that'd be fantastic. You know,
that'd be great. And you know, any last thoughts? You know,
no, I think that's it. Yeah, you know, like it's
a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's an obviously flawed flick. Mm-hmm. If you're like, I don't think I can fucking handle a movie that's obviously flawed. Okay, you're a pussy, but I can disrespect that.
It takes a strong man to love a flawed movie.
Yeah. And
hey, you know, a huge chunk of my favorite movies are super flawed. Like it's just the way it is.
Oh yeah, I keep my favorite example of a movie that I consider to be extremely flawed, despite the fact that I still call it genius. Yeah, is Tarkovsky's Solaris.
Oh yeah,
you know, like
I can totally see that.
Yeah, you're like, because people are like, no, Tarkovsky's a genius. No, yes, absolutely, but watch Solaris. First of all, stay awake. And
that movie is slow as shit.
Slow as shit. I love it. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite films.
It's slow even by the slow movie standards of the time.
Oh yeah. Like, hey, just in case 2001 was just like too fast for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but like, just because a movie is seriously flawed doesn't mean I don't like it. That doesn't mean I don't love it, and doesn't mean that it's not worth you checking out. You should absolutely fucking check it out. Absolutely. You know, because there really is something here.
Yeah.
That is worth fucking praising.
There's a nugget here. There's a lot of talent, and there's a lot of
creativity. There's a lot of talent and creativity in this that is crying out to come to the next level.
This reminds me, like, this movie reminds me of, like, because I listen to a lot of metal music, right? So, like, one of the things that, especially when I was younger, I would, like, seek out metal music, and I would find, like, these really rough, like, first albums of someone that just put out. And it would be rough around the edges, but there'd be something there I really like, and I would watch as that band would develop over time and really come into their own with their sounds later on.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a film that kind of feels like that. It feels like a filmmaker with a really rough around the edges kind of first foray. And I don't actually know if this is their first film or just like an early film, but I can tell that whoever made this and the people that worked on it, they're going to develop and get better as time goes on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, this is kind of like, you know, like for modern music listeners, it's kind of like, oh God, I forget the name of the damn thing, but like what Tobias Forge was doing before Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you're like, it's not quite there. There's something going on, and then like fucking Eponymous comes out, and you're like, okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, well even as a Ghost fan, comparing like what they did on Eponymous to what they did with Meliora and the evolution, and like you know, like first great album, all great albums, but you can see them visibly like getting more into their sound.
Yeah, yeah, because even Eponymous,
or audibly,
audibly, even Eponymous, like kind of. It was trying to cling to growl metal just a little bit, and it wasn't until like the album after that they were like, "No, fuck it, like no, we're not gonna do that anymore," you know. But you could tell that they were on the right path, and the people who made this movie, I think, are on the right path.
100%. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jagula?
Oh, you can find me on Twitch at Count_Jagula, where I stream twice a week at Thursday and Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you would like to stay updated on everything that I'm doing and watch me like comment on random internet shit, you can follow me on Twitter at CountingJack. Or if for some goddamn reason you want to see the occasional photos I do of myself because I'm a media whore, you can come and watch me on Instagram at Satanic Jack. That's Satanic Jagula. And what about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, then be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And if you made it this far into the vlog, what do you think would be a good hashtag for this one?
Killer Beats.
Killer Beats? All right. If you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Killer Beats. That way I know, that way Jack knows, and that way the whole world knows that you watched this vlog all the way through. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, this is our last vlog for this week, and we'll catch y'all later.
Oh man, Killer Beats, Dead Beats.
Hashtag Dead Beats.
Yeah, well,
feel free to use either hashtag. Yeah. It's entire.
Well, I was thinking like ooh, Dead Beats. That would make the dad in the beginning a deadbeat dad.
I mean, he's a literal deadbeat dad. He literally beat someone to death.
Yeah, beat him to death. Deadbeat dad.
And then he got beaten to death. Well, it was dead beating all around.
Yeah.
Red chalice, you must take a sip. Sit right back for a flick. See gore and entrails and slimy in. Welcome, you gorehounds, the beating, dripping ooze. Welcome to the lair of the horror guru. Watch real close. Our